Okay, the following is a video over zero point 0.2 nodes, and this is changing units of measure between systems. Um, we have two different types of measurement systems. One is the metric system, which the majority of the world uses. But then we here in the good old United States use the customary units, which we're familiar with inches, yards, and miles. In the metric system, that would be centimeters, meters, kilometers type thing. So we've got different ways of going to them, or different scales. And so we can go from customary to metric or metric to customary. So usually, if we're going from one to the other, we're just going to be multiplying, okay? So let's go ahead and start with example one. And I want to convert 30 inches into centimeters. So if I have 30 inches, and I want to convert that into centimeters, then I know that for every inch there's about 2.5 centimeters. So I'm going to take 30 inches and multiply that by 2.5. And when I do that, I end up getting about 75 centimeters. Okay, so if you were to say, okay, if I've got 30 inches, how many centimeters is that? You'd take 30 inches, multiply it by 2.5, and get 75 centimeters. Okay. Part B, it says, if I have 5 kilometers, how many miles is that? Now we're going from a metric unit to customary, so I want to look in this one. And so kilometers into miles, for every kilometer is about 0.6 miles. So if I wanted to convert from kilometers to miles, I'm going to take 5 and multiply it by 0.6. And so if I take 5 times 0.6, that's going to end up giving me 3 miles. Okay. So I just want to look at my tables and figure out what I want to go to and use multiplication. Okay. Let's take a look at example 2. Now example 2 is a little bit interesting. Okay. If I have 2,000 yards, I want to know how many kilometers is that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to convert. I only have one thing of yards here. Okay, yards to meters. It doesn't give me anything from yards to kilometers. So I'm going to first convert this into meters. And so I'm going to take 2,000 and I'm going to multiply that by 0.9. And when I do that, I end up getting 1,800 meters. Okay? Now, if I have 1,800 meters, I want to convert that into kilometers. And I know that if I'm going from meters to kilometers, that's small to large, then I want to use division. Okay? And so I know that there are 1,000 meters in every 1 kilometer. So I'm going to take 1,800 and I'm going to divide that by 1,000. And that's going to end up giving me 1.8 kilometers. Okay, so that one was a little tricky. That one you kind of got to use a little bit of intuition. So everything that we learned in 0.1 can be applied to what we learned here. Okay, so that was something we learned in the last section. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at example 3. And in this one, convert units of capacity between systems. So I've got 7 quarts, and I want to figure out how many liters that is. So let's look over here. Okay, so I've got quarts. 1 quart is almost equivalent to about 0.9 liters. So I'm going to take 7 quarts, and I'm going to multiply that by 0.9, because there's 0.9 liters in every 1 quart. So I take 7 times 0.9. That's going to give me 6.3 liters. Okay. All right, if I have 2 liters, it wants to know how many pints do I have, and this is part B. So I know that I'm going from liters to pints, so I'm going to use this one right here. And so for every liter, there's about 2.1 pints. So I'm going to take 2 times 2.1, and that's going to end up giving me 4.2 pints. Okay? So again, I'm just looking at my table, seeing what I need to convert, and I'm multiplying. Okay. All right. In example 4, I have 10 liters, and I want to figure out how many gallons that is. Oh crap. Uh-oh, folks, we've got a problem here. Because we don't know, I don't have anything that goes from liters to gallons. So I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of stuff from using something over here. Okay, I've got liters. I'm gonna convert that into quarts because I know that there are 4 quarts per gallon, and we learned that in 0.1. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take 10 liters, and I'm gonna convert that into quarts. I'm gonna multiply that by 1.1, and that's going to give me 11 quarts. Okay, so 11 quarts. So if I have 11 quarts, and I know that there are 4 quarts per gallon, and that's what I'm looking for. So if I'm going from quarts to gallons, that's small to large, that means I'm going to use division. Okay, so I'm going to take 11 quarts, I'm going to divide that by 4 quarts per gallon, and that's going to end up giving me 2.75 gallons. Okay, so you've got to look. Okay, if you don't notice any direct conversion, you need to use the tables from 0.1 to help you with that. Okay, so let's take a look at the last example, converting units of mass. Okay, so I've got, in part A it says 58.5 kilograms. How many pounds is that? Okay, so I've got this. I've got kilograms to pounds. So 58.5 times 2.2. So let's do that. 2.2, and I'm going to multiply those together, and I've already done these, so, oh dear. I think that's 128.7. Yeah, 128.7 pounds. Okay. So that was pretty easy. And this one, we want to go from 14 ounces to grams. Okay, so I know that for every ounce, it's 28.3 grams. So I'm going to do 14 times 28.3, and that's going to give me 396.2 grams. Hey guys, I've already done these. These are problems that you'd want to have a calculator for, but you know, pretty self-explanatory. Nothing too crazy. So as long as you're using these, going from one to the other in any of these columns, you can go ahead and use a multiplication. There are ways to do it. You could do it the other way using division, but why do it? Why confuse yourself when you've already got things going in one direction? So I hope that this is helpful. Please get started on the 0.2 homework.